cafe anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1338. I am Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, at the last place on earth. Today, Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster. Plus, we bring you a brand new segment. Why do I shout? I don't know. And it's called Mike is on It.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And that's the name of the show, Mike's Daily's Podcast. It's been on for a while. Actually, I forgot to mention something on the last
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That do you know how long this show has been going on? It has been 6 years strong. Yes, I started back in 2011 with Mike's Daily Podcast. There were some others before that, but they did not last. Actually, this is the same song, though, I used on my previous show called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No, it wasn't called Mike's Daily Podcast. It was called The Last Place on Earth. So I actually started with a show called
Mike's.
No, it wasn't called that.
Daily.
No, it wasn't called that either.
Podcast.
No.
Yeah.
It was called The Messy Desk, because I did it from my desk at home, and it was messy, and I thought, oh, let's just look at things that are on my desk. Oh, various bills and papers, and look at all these CDs. I have over 2,000 CDs, and I don't listen to any of them. Well, I ripped a bunch of them, and now they're in my Samsung phone. Look who just walked in. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing? And to Disgruntled Fiddle Player tell you what? What? You didn't have us on the messy desk. No, you weren't on that show. We did a show for a while called Mike's Podcast Picnic. That was in 2010, and you guys would show up on that, but yeah, I didn't want to bring you guys back, even though you had been on the Santa Fe Cafe with me for 11 years. And look who else walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, have some root beer.
God, it stinks.
I know. It's my stinky root beer. It's like cheese. Donuts.
Cheese donuts? Donuts and cheese. Why didn't I think of that? I could have had a V8.
No way.
What it is, though, is...
And here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture is of me. Because I'm beautiful. No, I'm just very average looking. And the show's about me.
This show is about me, and it always has been.
No, this was a picture I took... not last Friday, but the Friday before. I was walking around the wonderful San Leandro Marina, and there's this place called Heron Bay, and there are houses at Heron Bay. I never park at those houses, because if you park in that neighborhood, you will get a ticket, your car will be evicted, it will be towed away, it will be thrown off a cliff, strapped with bombs, and as it hits the bottom of the gorge... That's what will happen. It's horrific. So, don't ever park in Heron Bay. But you can park at the San Leandro Marina and walk over to Heron Bay. That's how it rolls in the Bay Area. Because there's signs everywhere, folks. In the Bay Area, signs. This is where that song came from. Signs everywhere. Sign. No, I don't know if it did. But I do know that people are always making rules in the Bay Area. Ridiculous, stupid rules that really, you don't need to say them. It's understood. But no, you gotta put them on a sign and stick it in the ground and shove it in my face. There's this beautiful area that was created at the end of last year near my house. It was made out of a lake that kept drying up every year. And one year, the first year it dried up was two years ago, and the fish died, and the seagulls came and ate the fish. And it was sad, and people were like, oh, I used to fish in this lake, and it's gone now. Coal Canyon Lake. Well, they made a little creek go through it. Looks very nice. They kind of have this creek wind through where the lake was, and they built up the dirt, so now there's some little hills. And it's been draining really well through the entire crazy rainy season. And they got that done just before the rainy season hit. So good on them, as people say that expression a lot these days. Good on you. Good on me. What? You said poop on me? How dare you? That's crazy and triumph the insult dog-like. But it is a beautiful area now, the Coal Canyon Creek Park, whatever they're calling it. But it has no name as of yet, because it's still basically, they're waiting for the grass to all grow, which it has, and they're waiting for the trees to grow. It's basically now an uncharted area. And it's beautiful, it's untouched. You can walk there, because there's no fences or anything. You can walk there. I have taken my dog Basil the Boxer there on numerous occasions. And you can walk around, and it's so nice, and there's no signs yet. That's what I'm getting to, is there are no signs. And there will be signs everywhere come, probably a month or two as the summer really kicks in. It's interesting because nobody goes there. They go about a block further north to where they've got their swimming lagoon, and the families line up. They opened not last weekend, but the weekend before. And on Sunday, this past weekend, there was already a line of people with their kids trying to get into the lagoon. That it's a cement lagoon it's got cement on the bottom, but there's sand, and the water is reprocessed, and there's chlorine in it. It's like a big pool swimming lagoon thing, but almost like a beach. And I think I posted a podcast picture about it, but everybody commented, oh, Mike, imagine all the pee in that. And I don't want to imagine all the pee in that. Thank you. Don't make me. But it is... What my point is this other part of Coal Canyon Park is untouched yet. And you can walk around it. There are really no fences or anything, and no signs yet. And I love the fact there are no signs. But I know the signs are a-coming, is my point, because it is the Bay Area, and it's crazy. And I yell about it a lot, but I don't like all the signs. What do you think? You can tell me. 336 Daily. That's 336, what's the number? 663-2459, I think it is. I can never remember it numerically, but that's it, 336-663-2459. You can call me there, or 336 Daily. Hey, somebody called me on that, texted me. Let's go to the tape.
Oh my God!
Email for email and your calm and not so calm mess.
I've mentioned I was yelling at a couple things today. I yelled at the signs in the Bay Area, and I yelled at CSpan today because they had on some guy. They're doing this thing about coal today, and they had on this guy that runs a major, huge coal power plant company. I don't know his name, but he was saying, oh, yeah, we don't have a bunch of people in Washington to promote our message, but Obama, he said all this negative stuff about us, and there was nothing that we could do. It was so terrible. And I'm yelling at this TV screen, because we have C-SPAN on here at Cafe anyway, and I'm yelling at the TV screen saying, you guys have all three branches of government now. Soon you will have the Supreme Court, and you are still complaining about Obama. You whiny white man.
Wine.
Well, I like it.
The whiny white man wine list.
He's nuts! They're nuts! They know nothing!
And yes, he was white. And yes, there is no reason for you to complain now. You have Trump in office that's going to make coal. Everyone's going to be eating coal. They're going to get coal in their stockings for Christmas. It's going to be coal lost to me time. But no, I hope it's not that. And people were calling in that had worked for the coal industry for years. One lady called in and said, "Thank you, sir. You employed my family when it was cold. Down at the Piggly Wiggly, you had hot soup for us. Thank you so much." But then this other guy calls up. Old guy is like, there was smoke everywhere, and soot would be in the snow, and you couldn't walk on the snow. It wasn't white, it was black as night, and you couldn't walk on it because if you did, your legs would fall off. It was bad. And you tell me we want to keep the coal industry going? Coal's bad. So I yelled at CSpan because that guy was still complaining about Obama. Come on. And then I yelled at the Christian station I work for. Yes, I work for a Christian station. I yelled at a guy named Vernon McGee. Okay, maybe that's not his name, but he has long since left this planet, but his recordings continue to play, and he's supposed to be talking about the Bible. His whole thing is, I'm going to take you on a tour of the Bible over 5 years. It's the Bible bus. Well, the thing was, he was just going on and on about how capitalism was great and socialism was horrible, and he kept going on and on about capitalism. I'm like, where the heck is that in the Bible? And explain to me why the Catholic religion is basically based on communism and socialism. But that was interesting. And then I yelled at this other guy that was on that same station who was yelling about how Christians are being persecuted today, and no, they're not. I have not seen a Christian thrown to a lion. Ever. Only on the TV, on a Mark Burnett production. Let's look at the life of Samson and Delilah. And they threw Daniel into the den with the lions. And, okay, I'm zipping through my Sunday school life eons ago. Hey, I loved Sunday school. They wanted me to go to the church afterwards, though, and I'd be like, no, I'm just here for the Sunday school, because this is rad. Candy is involved. So, we had that email from Email and You're Not So Calm and comments, and I wanted to mention Haley sent me a message through that phone number I mentioned earlier, and wrote the following, because it was 1337 yesterday, episode, or elite, whatever you want to call it, and I'm not going to read what Haley sent me because it was all in that leet language, and there was some cussing involved. But then I also did hear from Vince, who said, damn, I totally missed that. Sorry. Hope you had a good show. I'll force myself to wake up early one of these days and come in. Vince was the one, in fact, that told me about the 1337 importance and biology, symbioticism, it's Teachers' Day today, and I'd like to thank the teachers for teaching me all the vocabulary that I know. And I can't yell at teachers. I can't yell at teachers. I can only yell for teachers, and that they are the best. And that I know there's nothing PC or un-PC about saying how much you love teachers. It's just a thing. It's like saying I love kittens, but I do love teachers. And I hate kittens. No, kittens are great. It's the cats that I get allergic to. But I love cats. But that's neither here nor there or anywhere. Cafe anyway.
Anyway.
MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com has all the past podcast pictures of places that had signs and no signs. And, I have to tell you that I've taken a lot of pictures, and I've gotten a lot of flack over the years for taking so many pictures. But in recent weeks, I have gone back and looked at some of the pictures I've taken over, let's say, the past. I've gone back to like 2010 and looked at pictures of when I did not have gray in my goatee. Now I don't have a goatee, as you'll see in today's podcast picture, but I go back and I look at these pictures and I think back and I go, wow, my backyard actually looked fairly nice. I've kind of let it grow a lot. It's a jungle back there, my friend, but I like it. I found that you let the trees grow and the plants grow, and they block out that hot sunlight. early in the morning that can be annoying when you're trying to enjoy your coffee. But it is a thing. It's great to go back and look at your pictures. If you take a lot of pictures, don't let people get to you. Go back and enjoy those pictures and laugh at them. Because we should be laughing at each other, not yelling at each other. I think that's my point. Oh, but it is time now for the segment called...
Mike is on it, man.
Man go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
Yes, I try to be on it. I'm trying to be on the news today. And let's zip through it. Eric Trump is shooting down a report that the president's son in 2014 told a golf writer that funding for Trump golf courses came from Russia. It's a recollection from some guy 3 years ago through a third person, Eric said to the New York Post. We own our own courses free and clear, Eric Trump added. He claimed the report was categorically untrue and complete garbage. We have zero ties to Russian investors. Okay. Then, a beach that was swept away more than 30 years ago from a remote island off the west coast of Ireland has reappeared after thousands of tons of sand were deposited on top of the rocky coastline. The 300-meter beach near the tiny village of Dua on the Achill Island, my apologies to Ireland for messing up your names, vanished in 1984 from storms stripped it off of its sand, when storms stripped off the sand, leaving nothing more than a series of rock pools. But after high spring tides last month, locals found the Atlantic Ocean had returned the sand, and it's enormously significant, Sean Malloy of the Tourism Council told the Irish Times newspaper, recalling how the popular beach once sustained 4 hotels and a number of guest houses on the west coast on the island of 2,600 people. And now they're playing on it. The island largest off the coast of Ireland forms part of the Wild Atlantic Way, a tourist trail stretching from the south of the country to the northwest that has benefited from a tourism boom in the European Union's fastest growing economy. And they're not leaving the European Union, unlike their next door neighbor people, the British. Those bastards. You may want to think twice before sinking your teeth into Ben & Jerry's new pint slices, because there's a nationwide recall on them. The parent company of Ben & Jerry's, Unilever, announced the voluntary recall when a customer opened their box of the chocolate fudge brownie flavor of the dessert and discovered vanilla peanut butter cups pint slices inside. The individually wrapped slices were identified as the vanilla peanut butter flavor, but the product's outer packaging did not specify that peanut butter was an ingredient. And if you have a peanut allergy, that's horrible news. Hey, Shepard Smith, we've always known he's colored his hair, but did we know he was gay? Well, now he's coming out and telling us that he's coming out. The managing editor, Shepard Smith, of the very conservative Fox network, revealed last month that while he always knew he was different than his peers growing up in Mississippi, he feels he never had the need to out himself because he was never in. Somebody asked me if Roger Ailes had been abusive to me, and I said no, he was always good to me. And that's the truth. He said during a talk at the University of Mississippi's Meek School of Journalism, where he was once a student. And when I told the truth, I guess it was considered that I outed myself. I didn't even think about it because I didn't think I was in. He was raised in Holly Springs, Mississippi, a conservative religious town where he says boys wore khaki shorts and starched white shirts, and we all do what everybody else does. Sounds like a fun place. An Australian traveler is suing American Airlines, claiming that he suffered injuries after being seated next to 2 obese seatmates for a 14-hour flight. Yikes. Now, will the airlines listen? Don't shove us in the places that our bodies aren't meant to be shoved. A 67-year-old man by the name of Michael Anthony Taylor said he spent most of the trip from Sydney to LA, and that's a long, long trip, either crouching, kneeling, or bracing, or standing. He claims the airline wouldn't let him change seats, and the awkward positions worsened his scoliosis and caused back injuries and neck bruising. Speaking of suing, a New Orleans preservationist on Monday sued to stop the city of New Orleans from removing a statue of a Confederate general that critics say glorifies the era of slavery in the South. The lawsuit filed by Richard Marksbury says the city cannot legally take down the statue of Confederate States Army General P.G.T. Beauregard because it does not own the memorial on the land. If that monument is removed, then they would open themselves up to some legal action, he said. He is a member of the Monumental Task Committee, a volunteer group that works to preserve monuments in New Orleans. And finally, Volkswagen says they are going to go after Tesla. Herbert Diess, how about the Volkswagen's brand chief, believes that the automaker, the German automaker, that says
Fahrvergnügen. It's what makes a car a Volkswagen.
Can beat Tesla at its own game once it settles into its plan to sell a whole bunch of electric cars, the Financial Times reports. Anything Tesla can do, we can surpass, he said. Tesla is a competitor we take seriously. Tesla comes from a high-price segment. However, they are moving to less expensive cars. It's our ambition with our new architecture to stop them, to rein them in. Well, as we go outside a cafe anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. The new Volkswagen, the new electric Volkswagen, apparently is a wonderful electric car with a gas engine. That's a joke, because Volkswagen lies about what their cars are, and then they got into a bunch of trouble with that. And they lie. The Germans lie. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. That's no lie. A big thank you to you. And next show, we will have Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Enjoy your day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!